Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. This morning we're going to do a video on how to take down and clean the G3C Taurus 9mm automatic pistol. So this is a pretty easy thing to do. First thing you want to do is take your magazine out, and you can see this magazine is empty. Pull your slide back and lock it in place so you can visually look down into the cylinder and make sure that you're empty. And this one is empty. I hope you can see that. Then release your slide. Take your fingers and put them right here with your thumb right here behind the dovetail. Pull this back about just over 1/8 of an inch, maybe even 1/4. And there are 2 little tabs on each side of the gun, right there. You want to pull these tabs down, release the slide, pull the trigger. Always keep your hand away from the front, even though you know it's empty, because we checked it. I always like to do it this way. I never put my hand or my fingers in front of that barrel, because I've seen people have accidental discharges and they'd have their hand over it, and it's a really bad deal. So anyway, at this point, we've got the gun taken apart. Then you want to remove your spring and your guide rod. Then you want to take out your barrel, and you always want this part of your barrel up because that's what your guide rod and your spring set in. So you push forward, lift it out, and now the gun is disassembled and ready to be cleaned. All right, cleaning the gun. I like to use shooter's lube. You get it online. It has the oil and it has the cleaner. Really good stuff. So take my slide and I shoot some shooter's lube down in it. Make sure I'm getting it into the rails. There's slots in there, and that's where your slides on these rails right here. So I shoot some down in here, all over the lower part. Then I shoot some in the barrel, getting it where it's really saturated. Guide rod and spring, take and shoot it. And now everything is saturated that you need to be wiped down and cleaned. Okay, so I take a rag, wiping everything down and getting everything really clean. Now on my slide, I also take a brush. You can take a wire brush, or you can just take one like this. It comes in a clean kit. And I like to get that brush and go down where the rail slides, in this groove on each side of your slide. Clean that really good inside that rail slide. That's what, when that builds up in goop, that can make your gun jam. And then I like to clean everything that's on top right here. Just take and give it a good cleaning with your brush. I try to go around where the barrel goes and the spring and guide go, and just thoroughly brush it down. Lightly. You don't have to do it real hard, just kind of a firm brushing right there. Then wipe it down, get everything out of there. And now the slide should be clean. Okay? At this point, I like to I put 3 drops on each side in that groove. I don't know if you can see that groove or not, but inside there, like I say, there's a groove on each side. I put 3 drops on it. The one thing you don't want to do on each side now is you don't want to over lube your gun. That's as bad as not any lube at all. Then I take and put 1 drop right here and just give that a rub with my finger and just kind of slide down those rails, where the rails slide at. Whatever's left on my finger, I just kind of give it a wipe on the outside. So There you go. That's the slide. Now, the lower part, just lightly wipe all the, the cleaner out of it, get it good and dry. And on this one, I put a drop on each part right here where, this is a guide for where when you put your slide back on, this keeps your slide guided as it comes on and locks into place. I like to put one drop on each side of that because that's where your rail is sliding, okay? Then I take and I like to put a drop right here and one right there. Right here and right there, okay? Now, that's the upper and the lower, the slide and the lower. Then, on the guide rod, and this is kind of up to you, I always just take and put a couple of drops on it and just do this, just to get a little oil on it. But I don't really think it matters. If you just keep it clean, I think you're okay there. Now, on the barrel, as you saw, I put the cleaner down in it. I like to take a patch and run that patch through and get the cleaner out. Okay. And then I take a wire brush. Now this is a wire brush. I run it through and back through a couple of times. Make sure I've got everything out of there. Now this brush is just, it's not wire, but it's a good firm brush. This is just a cleaner, and I just kind of rotate it as I push it through, like that, just a couple of times. Then I take my paper patch again, and I run it through one more time, just to make sure that I got everything out of there with the wire brush and everything. Okay, so now I take another paper patch and I put a couple of drops of oil on it, and I run it through the barrel and give it just a light coating of oil in the barrel, okay? Then I just take my fingers and just rub the barrel with whatever's on my fingers, and the barrel is done. So now we're ready to go back together with the gun. We've got the bottom done, we've got the slide done, and we're ready to put the gun back together. So, want to take your slide, take your barrel with this up, you want to put it down in the bottom, put it back, pull it back till you hear it click. Hear that click? Now it's in place. You always want this up. Take your guide rod and your spring, put it in, push forward, locking it in to this position right here. And that's what that's for. That locks in that guide rod and spring right there, okay? Now, the gun is ready to go back together. And like I was saying, you want to line up these two followers and guides with this right here. You want to line that up, pushing it on, and the gun is back together again. It should go click, and it did. You want to do that a couple of times, just making sure the gun is functioning properly. And by reinsert your magazine, and your gun is now clean and ready to be used. Then I take and just give the gun a light wipe down just to get the excess oil off. And that is how you take down and clean the G3C Taurus pistol. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a great day, and we will see you next time. Thank you.